Hello and welcome to MOJO TV. I'm Johanna Mecca.
And I'm Alexander Hatzikostas. This is our third episode of MOJO TV and we have an exciting lineup for you today. Student protests against the federal government's planned deregulation and higher education scheme have continued, with the latest national rally taking place last Wednesday. Will Zwar was there.
Students gathered outside the State Library in a nationwide protest, seen in all other Australian capital cities, denouncing the half-fee deregulation plans by the government.
Turnbull, get out! We know what you're all about! Cuts, job losses, money for the bosses!
The protesters slammed the government, criticising their allocation of funding and lack thereof to higher education funds.
And they choose war machines, $150 billion worth of submarines just this year. And they're the kind that cost as much money as wiping out all student debt 3 times over, so shame on them.
Sinead Colley, President of the National Union of Students, said that higher education should be a priority, but instead students are suffering.
Universities are finding ways to take as much money as they can from students without giving them as much as they deserve, and that's unjust.
However, Jeannie Ray, President of the National Tertiary Education Union, says the planned cuts aren't just hurting the students' bank accounts, but also their actual education.
I think what's really telling is what I'm hearing from students now. What I'm hearing from students is complaints about not having enough class time and not getting enough assessment. So students are worried about whether they're actually learning what they need to learn to walk away with the degree that they're getting. So I think that shows something's fairly serious.
Although cuts to higher education have not yet been confirmed, universities are preparing for reduced funding. This could result in staff cuts and an increase in student fees.
The demands of today's action were no 100k degrees, so anti-deregulation, which is the major part of it because we've been fighting it so long. But we also have 2 other key demands, so no cuts to staff, courses or to TAFE, which is another huge problem, and that's a state government issue. We just want more money put into higher education and more funding for higher education. Simple as that. We want it to be a priority on the government's agenda.
Will Zwar, reporting for MOJO TV.
With Team Australia back home from the Rio Olympics, reporter Krishna Mariani got the chance to sit down and chat with Monash University students and doubles badminton duo Matthew Chow and Sawan Sarasinghe.
How does it feel to be back home in Australia?
No, it's definitely great to be back home. While the 3 weeks away at the Olympics was probably the best 3 weeks of my life, it's great to be back in Australia where all the support came from, and it's great to be home really.
It just feels good to be back home and see family and friends and celebrate with them, finally.
So how was the experience to actually represent Australia, knowing that you're the best in the country?
Representing Australia in the Olympics is the highest honour any athlete can really have bestowed upon them. And I think that knowledge that we were the best in Australia is what allowed us to play our very best when we went and competed with the world's best. We were really determined to do Australia proud and to do ourselves proud.
Before you got there, what was different in your preparation, whether it's mentally or physically, as opposed to any other competition?
So we had a couple of months before, in between qualifying and actually competing at the Olympic Games. We played a couple of lead-up tournaments in US and Canada. Then we came back and had a solid 3 weeks of training with some international players coming in to help us. And then when we went across, I think we were really in the best possible condition that we could have been in.
What was the atmosphere like in the actual Olympic Village? How was that?
It's very unique because you're in a small space with all these amazing athletes.
I don't know if you heard, but the USA basketball team was staying on cruise liners outside of the village, not with the other athletes, but they came into the village just before the opening ceremony because we had to go from the village to the opening ceremony. And so they were having a meal there just before we left, and I mean, it was hard for them to eat because they were getting mobbed by all the other athletes. So that was cool to see.
Did you guys like Rio, firstly? How was Rio as a whole, outside of the Olympic Village?
Outside the Olympic Village, it was quite nice. there was the good sides and the bad sides. Of course, there was the whole safety factor, which the Australian Olympic Committee was really, pushing us to be very cautious when we were going out. If you stayed safe and you were sensible about it, you could have a good time out in Rio.
So what's the story with you guys? How did you become badminton partners?
So we started in different clubs. So we get selected for state teams, and this is during juniors, state teams, and we compete against each other. Then we get selected for the same national teams in juniors, and that was where in 2011, was it? 2011, where they decided to pair us together as a doubles partnership, and we won the first tournament that we played together.
You said you had a leg injury?
Yeah, I mean, you get a few niggles here and there while you're always playing because the massive load. I rolled my ankle during the games because I do have a very unstable right ankle, but it's just part of it. Just taped it up and iced it, and then kind of continued playing. But now, since I'm back and I have some time off, where I'm really trying to rehab and get ready for the next few tournaments coming up in Europe end of the year. So yeah.
So now you guys are back at uni. How far behind are you, and how are you doing with your catch-up?
Yeah, I mean, we left as pretty much when uni started, so we have about 4 or 5 weeks of stuff to catch up, and mid-semesters coming up, and assignments. But I mean, the university itself is very supportive. The staff and all the lecturers, so they're very flexible with everything, giving us extensions to have enough time to study for that. So it's okay, just a bit of hard work for the next 2 weeks, but I should be fine.
What does the future hold for Matt and Salwan?
I think the next big one for us is the 2018 Commonwealth Games. So a home Commonwealth Games is something really that we're looking forward to, and really to do our best there, and hopefully we can achieve a medal, looking to do Australia proud.
Krishna Moriani, MOJO TV.
In the last 10 years, a new wave of Australian athletes have travelled to the United States to play college football. Melbourne-based company Pro Cricket Australia works to get students scholarships to American universities in the hope that they too can join the country's most popular and lucrative sport. Atiba Jackson with the report.
This weekend marks the start of the 2016 college American football season. But for these young men who train 6 times a week across Melbourne, the hope is to grab a sporting scholarship in time for the 2017 season.
Get your footballs.
Pro Kick Australia is an organisation that aims to turn Australia's love for having a kick into sporting scholarships at US universities.
It all starts from anyone wanting to come down and have an assessment, and what we're trying to do is find out our benchmark for power level and their raw athletic ability and kicking talent. We have to sort of put that into a system where we've got to know that after 12 months training, how much do we feel that we can improve them, and then whether that's going to be good enough to put on some film and send to a coach in the States for them to be offered a scholarship.
In the 10 years since the program was developed, 50 students have received scholarships across America.
Turn up the gas.
To have the experience of going over to the States is the most amazing feeling. When people come up and congratulate you, it's almost surreal.
While these students are valued for their ability to kick a football, the opportunity for a debt-free education is a worthy return.
Full room, board, tuition, food, tutors, you name it, everything's covered. So it's a pretty good deal, but it just also means that your ability needs to be up there, so that you need to perform at the same time.
Yeah, good. I get to play in the ACC, but then I get to go home and study engineering like I always wanted, and everything works in my favour to help me get the degree that I wanted to get. Of course, worried about the academic side of it. I'm trying to balance the football life and academic life. I've heard from plenty of the guys it's tough to keep up with all the schoolwork.
Despite any challenges, for these guys, the 2017 season cannot come quickly enough. Atiba Jackson, MOJO TV.
As winter draws to a close, we thought it was only fitting to see how the style on Monash University campus is adjusting. The Streetegist team went to find out. Matilda Bosley reports.
With spring finally here and the excitement of the first few weeks of semester, people are bringing out their best outfits. The Streetegist team is here to take you through some of the outstanding ensembles on campus.
Nathan is demonstrating to us just what a sharp outfit can do. A crisp shirt, well-cut suit jacket blending perfectly with a pair of tan pants pitches his outfit at just the right level of casual class. Nathan bought the majority of this outfit at Dangerfield, showing us that looking your best doesn't necessarily mean you have to be breaking the bank. Well, we may not think that SoCal style and a crisp winter breeze would be a match made in heaven, but Damo is proving us all wrong with this blue Hessian hoodie straight from San Diego. Matched with the staple Melbourne attire of blue jeans and a white t-shirt, Damo is blending California and Victoria effortlessly. Eliza is showing us how you can elegantly blend technology and fashion as her grayscale Zara ensemble is complemented with a white Apple Watch. Eliza says that by keeping her wardrobe to white, black and grey, she has endless options to mix and match and may never need to wear the same outfit twice. Warm knits, comfy boots and a stylish circle scarf, Jade's Garçon's outfit is already the perfect casual attire. However, when coupled with a statement oversized handbag, it is taken to the next level. A chic look and room to carry all your textbooks? What more can an on-campus ensemble ask for? Staying warm and standing out? Well, Annabelle has no problems on that count. With statement glasses, classic camel chinos and a popped Hollister collar, all fitting seamlessly with a warm puffer vest, Annabelle's outfit is timeless, topical and ready for whatever Melbourne weather has to throw at him. Matilda Bosley, Mojo News.
For the next few episodes of Mojo TV, Matthew Andriazza will be taking a look at prominent music venues around Melbourne. The first venue on the menu is the John Curtin Hotel in Carlton.
There's nothing remarkable about the John Curtin Hotel. Not from the outside, and not from the inside. It looks pretty typical for a Carlton pub, and in many ways it is. That automatically means it's pretty damn good. The Curtin is located on Lygon Street, at the southern end of Carlton. It's a hop, skip and a jump away from Melbourne Central Station. It boasts regular live music performances, a decent selection of cider, beer, wine and spirits, and a rotating kitchen. Once or twice a year, the Curtin swaps out who mans its kitchen, taking its pick from local Melbourne restaurants. Currently in the kitchen is Leonard's House of Love, which serves up a diverse mix of Tex-Mex cuisine. It's hands-on, pretty messy and super tasty. That's the bar covered. So far, so good. Upstairs is the band room, which is arguably the Curtin's main attraction. It's basic, but there's another bar up there, and it's got a high-quality sound system, so they've got all their bases covered. But what goes on up there?
We literally do everything from hip-hop to some dance music to rock to soul to pop, like you name it, we do it.
Benjamin Russell, or Rusty as he prefers to be called, has owned the Curtin for 4 years. In that time, the Curtin has hosted a variety of music, and that variety is only getting bigger. This month, for the first time, the John Curtin Hotel hosted Indigenous actor Jack Charles for a number of talks.
On the back of the popularity of this, we're definitely going to start doing more with some sort of touring musicians and people that sort of have something to say, I guess, authors and things like that.
But not today.
Thrown in with all the music, of course. Eilish Gilligan studied classical music and opera and grew up in Wattle Glen. What's she doing in Melbourne singing contemporary pop?
I've always been pretty true to myself. I've always been pretty write this and play this because it feels good.
Something unique and unusual hidden under the commonplace. Am I describing her or the Curtin?
The food's good, the drinks, good, the music, decor, it's all good. The bargoers here were either first, second or third timers to the Curtin, and they all seem to agree. Yeah, it's alright. Matthew Andriazza, Mojo TV.
Concussions are becoming a critical talking point in today's sporting world. With long-term health risks, the AFL are approaching these head injuries with more caution than ever before. Here's Matt Hoy with that report.
Concussions, one of the scariest injuries a player can receive, with lingering headaches, loss of memory and even permanent brain damage just some of the symptoms. It's something Melbourne Demons young gun Angus Brayshaw hopes to see the last of.
Here's the hit.
Tackle, yeah.
Oh, he's hit on top of his head there.
He's a wonderful, wonderful tackler, this kid. He's the best in the team.
Having succumbed to multiple concussions in a short period of time, Angus was forced to sit out for an extended period of time, a price he believes worth paying.
neural diseases that you can get from having too many head knocks. So they've been real safe. I had 6 weeks off and I'm fine now, so I managed it well.
With the AFL seeing a recent spike in concussions, more players are missing games due to the long-term health risks of the injury. The retirement came as a warning sign for players, coaches and medical staff, who are now putting the long-term health of the players before anything else. Doctors now treat the injury on individual assessment, given the vast differences in symptoms players can receive.
It just depends on their history, how many concussions they've had, how severe the concussions they've had. If it's sort of something, for example, taking less and less force to produce bigger and bigger concussions, then that might be a time we say, all right, we need a longer period off.
With the increased understanding of concussions and advanced technology, medical staff are now able to diagnose and treat players at a faster and more accurate rate, giving the players the best opportunity to stay healthy.
In the last few years, the technology as well as our knowledge has really evolved. Now, in AFL and most sports, they have sideline sort of instant video assessment, so the doctors can sort of get a look at the footage, see what happens, and that can give us a lot more information as to whether or not the player may be concussed.
Despite the treatment and support of medical staff, there may come a time when players are forced into making a tough decision about their future.
I think absolutely there comes a point where you've just got to weigh up footy career versus the rest of your life potentially being ruined by having something happen to your brain. So absolutely, if it got to that point, you'd have to just unfortunately pull the pin.
Thankfully, there haven't been any more issues regarding early retirement or even any serious concussions from players, and the AFL hope to keep it that way.
That's all for this episode of MOJO TV, and thank you for watching. We hope to see you again soon.